My heart was a drum solo in my chest, beating so hard I was sure Olivia, standing beside me, could hear it. We were outside my own front door, the place I called home, and yet it felt like the threshold of a stranger's house. I took out my keys, every movement slow, deliberate, quiet. "This is your last chance to back out," I whispered, my voice rough. "If you're not sure." Olivia, pale but resolute, shook her head. "No. I need to see this." That was it. No turning back. I pushed the door open, just a crack, and we slipped inside. To understand how I ended up there, on a quiet Friday morning, sneaking into my own house with my next-door neighbor's pregnant wife, we have to go back to my restaurant's 10th anniversary. It was my night. My family, my wife, Sarah, and my stepdaughter, Chloe, along with my parents, Eleanor and Arthur, and my brother, they were all gathered at my house in Atlanta, celebrating what I'd built with my own hands. My brother, raising his beer, toasted, to Liam, the one who's made it further than any of us. It was a good feeling. My father, Arthur, asked Chloe, "And what are you going to study?" "With the university he's paying for, you have the world at your feet." Chloe, without even looking up from the cell phone I'd bought, mumbled, "Something worthwhile." "Law, medicine. I don't want to end up being a waiter my whole life." My fork dug into the plate, a sharp, sudden scrape. "Sorry, you heard me," she snapped, a sneer twisting her lips. "Not all of us can settle for serving food and cleaning tables." My mother, Eleanor, actually choked. My father stopped eating. The contempt in Chloe's voice was like a physical blow, cutting through the celebratory air. "That was completely out of line," I said, the rage rising in my chest like lava. But before I could say another word, Sarah glared at me, as if I were the problem. "She's not your daughter, so shut your mouth. At least she knows what she wants, unlike you, who got stuck serving plates." That hit. It hit hard. In front of my entire family, she trampled on everything I was, everything I had built. Every word was a hammer to my dignity. I just smiled. Slowly. The clarity, the realization that washed over me, was brutal and final. "You're right," I said, still smiling. "I'm nothing to her." The next morning, I called my manager, David. "I'm not coming in today. Take care of everything." He sounded concerned. "Everything okay, boss?" "Yes," I said, "I just have to deal with something personal." I sat down at my computer with a cup of coffee that went cold, untouched. I needed to understand exactly what had been happening in my own home. While I waited for the bank's page to load, memories hit me like a waterfall. The times I'd tried to set basic rules for Chloe. "No phones at the table," I'd said once. She didn't even look up. Sarah immediately jumped in, "You're not her father. You have no right to correct her." Or the time Chloe came home at 3 a.m. "Why do I have to explain myself to you?" she'd spat, looking at me like I was dirt. Sarah, of course, backed her up. "If you have a problem with her, you deal with me." Every single time I tried to exert any authority, or simply ask for basic respect, they shut me down. Chloe had quickly learned she could ignore me without consequence, and Sarah made sure of it. I'd always found excuses. A rebellious phase, I told myself. She hasn't fully accepted me. Sarah was a single mother for so long, it's hard for her to let someone else in. The signs were there from the beginning, but I'd ignored them. I opened the credit card statements for the last 6 months. The first charge that caught my eye was a recurring one, the Azalea Inn and Gardens. Always on a Tuesday or Thursday, always when I was at the restaurants, $50 each time. And that's when it all brutally clicked. Those were the exact days of their mother-daughter outings, the doctor's appointments, the family shopping trips, the activities they needed to do together. It was all a lie. A perfectly orchestrated facade. My stomach dropped like a stone. My money was funding their hotel meetups while I worked like an idiot, believing I had a united family. Chloe was Sarah's perfect alibi. I kept scrolling. Purchases at Nordstrom for thousands of dollars, watches, designer shirts, expensive perfumes, gifts I had never seen, much less received. But what really destroyed me were the transfers. Sarah had been moving money from our shared account to a personal account I didn't even know she had. $2,000 here, $3,000 there, always with vague descriptions like household expenses or family shopping. 23 transfers in 6 months, over $30,000. The pattern was perfect: hotel on Tuesdays, transfers on Wednesdays, shopping on Thursdays. Like clockwork. I closed the laptop and leaned back. The infidelity was obvious, but who? My mind raced through the possibilities. That afternoon, I bought a high-definition security camera. Outdoor, I told the clerk. Want to improve the neighborhood security. $100 later, I had a 4K camera with audio. I installed it discreetly, pointing at my front door, hoping it would give me answers. I didn't have to wait long. On the third day, reviewing the footage from the restaurant, I saw him. It was Mark, our next-door neighbor, casually walking up to my house 10 minutes after I had left. He had a key. The same Mark who always greeted me with that overly friendly smile. He was supposedly happily married to an elementary school teacher. 2 hours later, he walked out, adjusting his shirt. It all fit together like a punch to the gut. The strange familiarity, the casual conversations in the garden, the overly cordial greetings, it all made sense. But there was more. I kept reviewing footage from previous days, and there was the complete pattern. When Mark's wife, Olivia, left early for work, he would wait for me to leave, then come to my house. On the days Olivia stayed home, Sarah and Chloe would go shopping. I cross-referenced those dates with the hotel charges. Every single time, it matched. The realization broke me: Chloe didn't just know about the affair, she was an active accomplice. Her insult at dinner had been cruel, but now it hurt differently. She hadn't just humiliated me in front of my family. She had done it while covering up her mother's betrayal. That night, I found Olivia's profile on Facebook. A genuine smile, family photos that breathed normal. A woman who had no idea her husband was sleeping with the neighbor, with my money. I took screenshots of everything. Bank statements, camera recordings, transfers. I organized every piece of evidence by date and time. I called a lawyer, Mr. Henderson. I need an urgent consultation regarding asset separation in a common law marriage and fraud. Someone has been diverting money from our shared accounts. The appointment was set for Friday. Friday morning, Mr. Henderson got straight to the point. Technically, there's no marriage, so no marital assets to divide. But the fraud is another story. If you can prove she used your money without consent for purposes that harm you, I have the proof, I interrupted. Then you have the right to recover that money, and more. You can also proceed with a civil suit against both of them for moral damages. And if they live on your property, if she doesn't pay rent and isn't on the lease, you can start eviction proceedings. 30 days. I walked out of that office with crystal clarity. It wasn't just about the money or the infidelity. It was about respect, the deliberate humiliation, about that phrase, "I'm nothing to her." She was right. I was nothing to them. But I was the owner of everything they had. That night at dinner, as if nothing had happened, Sarah told me about her day. Mark was helping me with some heavy boxes. Such a helpful neighbor. I smiled and nodded. Yes, he's very helpful. While she talked about plans for the weekend, I discreetly pulled out my phone under the table. I opened the banking app, navigated to the credit card section, and with 3 cold, precise taps, I canceled every supplementary card in her name and Chloe's. I looked up and smiled at her, nodding along to whatever she was saying. The game had begun. On Wednesday night, my phone rang. It was Sarah, but not the calm voice I knew. This time, she was furious. What the hell happened with the cards? I tried to pay for dinner, and my card was declined. You have no idea the embarrassment you put us through. The bank is investigating some unrecognized charges, I replied, with the coldest calm I could muster. I cancelled the cards 2 days ago. Sorry I didn't tell you, but it all happened very fast. Unrecognized charges? What kind of charges are you accusing me of? No, honey. They're purchases and transactions that don't match our usual spending. That's why I cancelled the cards. Maybe your daughter lent the cards to her friends, and that's where the charges came from. We have to wait for the bank to finish verifying the data. There was a long pause. How long is this going to take? It could be weeks. It's an exhaustive process. I heard her take a deep breath, fighting for control. And in the meantime, you have to give us money. We're your responsibility. You are our provider. I'll give you something for the supermarket tomorrow. For the supermarket? Seriously, we need more than that, honey. It's what I can do while this all gets sorted out. As soon as the bank finishes its investigation, we'll go back to normal. I just need us to be patient. She hung up without saying goodbye. The following days were a symphony of complaints. Chloe grew increasingly frustrated because she couldn't maintain her lifestyle. No shopping trips, no expensive outings, no extra dance classes that I paid for. Friday afternoon, the decisive moment arrived. I walked into the house with a smile I couldn't hide. Why are you so happy? Sarah asked suspiciously. I made a difficult but necessary decision, I announced. I sold your daughter's car. The silence was deafening. What? Chloe appeared, eyes wide. You sold my car? If we're having financial problems, we have to make sacrifices. The car is a luxury we can't afford right now. How could you do this to me? Her voice broke. That car was mine. It was a car I was paying for. If I can't keep up with the payments, I have to sell it. Then came the speech I had been waiting for since that night at dinner. This is ridiculous. I can't live like this, she wailed. Wait, are you saying we won't have money for a while? But for how much longer? University registration is coming up and you know I'm not going to a public one. My education has to be the best if I want to get further than you. There it was again. Pure, undisguised contempt. I don't know why my mother is still with you. If you can't even pay for my education, you're a failure. I'm doing the best I can in a difficult situation, I replied with a calmness that surprised even me. The following Monday, real panic set in. Chloe ran into the house, phone in hand, her eyes watery. The university tuition payment was declined. They said if we don't pay in 72 hours, I'll be dropped from all my classes. Sarah looked at me with absolute panic. You have to fix this now. I can't, I said, shrugging with the most sympathetic expression I could feign. With the bank investigation, I've had to freeze all large payments. It's security protocol. It's over $15,000 per semester. Chloe was trembling. You can't leave me like this. I'm very sorry, but it's out of my hands. You'll have to wait for the investigation to be resolved. But I'll fall a whole semester behind. Maybe you can get a job in the meantime to help with expenses, or consider a more affordable university temporarily. Her face turned red with indignation. That night, I heard her crying in her room while she told Sarah everything. It didn't take 5 minutes for Sarah to come for me. Oh, no you don't. Her voice echoed through the house. You have to pay for your daughter's university. There it was again. Your daughter when she needed money, but she's not your daughter when she wanted to humiliate me. Honey, you know I'd do anything for her if it were in my hands. But don't give me excuses. She is your responsibility. You can't ruin her future because of your financial problems. They're not my problems. It's a bank investigation. I don't give a damn about the investigation. Get the money from wherever you have to. I looked at her with the most pained expression I could manage. I'm doing everything I can. As soon as this is resolved, it will be my priority. But inside, I was smiling. While I maintained my facade as a husband overwhelmed by financial problems, I escalated my surveillance. I installed cameras inside my own house. If Mark and Sarah were going to use my home for their encounters, I was going to document every second. On Wednesday afternoon, reviewing the footage from the restaurant, I heard the conversation that changed everything. Mark was in my living room, talking on the phone. His voice came through clearly from the hidden camera. "Olivia, honey, we need to talk." "Seriously?" "No, it's not about the money. It's about us." A long pause. "Yes, I know you just found out about the pregnancy, but I have to be honest with you. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. My job situation isn't stable, and with a baby." My heart stopped. Olivia was pregnant, and Mark was looking for excuses to leave her. Sarah's voice interrupted from the kitchen. "Was that her?" "Yes, she's pregnant." "And what are you going to do?" "I already told you, I want to be with you, but you need to make up your mind once and for all. I can't keep waiting while you play the perfect wife with him. It's not that easy, Mark. He's in a better financial position than you if I leave with you." "So, this is about money." "No, but I have to be realistic. That's why I've been saving money on the side, just in case I decide." There it was. The confirmation. Sarah was using me as a financial plan B while she decided whether to leave me. Mark was pressuring her, while his pregnant wife waited at home, unaware that her husband planned to abandon her. That night, I couldn't sleep. For the first time since this nightmare began, I faced a genuine moral dilemma. Should I tell Olivia the truth? I would have wanted to know. She had the right to know her husband was not only cheating but planning to abandon her while pregnant. But was it fair to destroy her world at such a vulnerable moment? Then again, Mark was going to destroy her world anyway. The only difference was whether she found out now or later, when she was further along. Did I have the right to decide what was best for her? Or did I have a moral obligation to tell her before Mark left her? The answer came when I remembered my own experience. I would have wanted to know from day one. Olivia deserved the same opportunity to make informed decisions about her future and her baby. On Thursday morning, I received the call I'd been waiting for. "We have everything we need," Mr. Henderson told me. "The evidence is solid. We can proceed with the civil suit and execute the eviction order whenever you give the word." "Are you sure it's enough?" I asked. "More than enough. The unauthorized transfers, the recordings, the bank statements. It's a solid case." I hung up and felt a strange calm. It was time to design the perfect ending to this nightmare. That night, I sat down at the computer. It was time to act. The eviction would be carried out on Friday morning. But first, I needed to talk to Olivia. On Thursday afternoon, when I knew Sarah and Mark would be at the hotel, I walked next door. My heart was pounding as I knocked. "Yes?" Olivia opened the door. She looked tired and pale. "Excuse me, ma'am, I'm your next-door neighbor. I need to talk to you about something very delicate involving your husband." Her face changed. "What's wrong with Mark? Could we talk inside? I have some evidence I think you should see." Once we were seated in her living room, I opened my laptop. "Ma'am, I'm very sorry to have to show you this, but your husband has been using my house for encounters with my wife. I have recordings." I showed her some of the clearest footage, Mark entering and leaving my house, the dates, the times. Her face went pale. This can't be true." I know it's hard to believe, which is why I'm proposing something. Tomorrow, you and I will pretend to leave for work as usual, but we'll come back in half an hour. They will be here, in my house. We're going to catch them red-handed. Olivia looked at me with a mixture of pain and determination. Are you sure? Completely. It's the only way for you to see the truth with your own eyes. Olivia was trembling slightly. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm a victim here, too. And because I believe you have the right to know, especially now that you're expecting a baby. She was silent for a long time, processing. What time? Tomorrow. You have to leave as if you're going to work normally. I'll do the same, but instead of leaving, we'll wait and come back 30 minutes later. By then, they'll be comfortable and relaxed. Olivia nodded slowly. I understand. Tomorrow, I'll leave as usual, but I'll be back in half an hour. I walked back to my house knowing this entire charade would end tomorrow. The truth would be there, raw and undeniable, for Olivia to see with her own eyes. That night, I called Mr. Henderson. Everything is ready. I'll pick up the eviction notice first thing in the morning. All right, I'll have it ready. The game was over. All that was left was to say, checkmate. Friday morning, I left the house earlier than usual. I'm heading to the restaurant, I told Sarah. I have to take care of some pending matters early. Will you be back for lunch? She asked. I don't think so. It's going to be a long day. First, I stopped by Mr. Henderson's office to pick up the eviction notice. The documents felt heavy in my hands, but also liberating. On my way back, my phone vibrated with a text from Olivia, *, I've left the house. All set, *, I replied immediately, *, perfect. I'm on my way. Had to pick something up. Meet me at the neighborhood park, *, I parked 2 blocks from my house and walked to the park. Olivia was already there, sitting on a bench, looking nervous but determined. Are you ready? I asked her. No, not really, she admitted, but let's do this. It's okay. You're not alone in this. We're in this together. We're going to make them regret messing with us. She nodded, trembling. We walked in silence to my house. We found clothes scattered all over the floor. It seemed they were in quite a hurry. Then we heard the moans coming from our bedroom. With my heart pounding, we went up the stairs. Olivia, barely holding back tears, looked like she was about to throw up. As we got closer, the sounds grew louder. I thought I might throw up, too. The sound of the door opening made them turn. I saw the exact moment the color drained from their faces. Mark nearly threw Sarah to the floor as he scrambled up, barely covering himself with a sheet. She was frozen, mouth open, desperately trying to cover herself with a pillow. No! No! This can't be happening! Sarah stammered, looking between Olivia and me with wide, terrified eyes. What? How? Mark, consumed by panic, didn't know what to say. Olivia, you were supposed to be at work. His voice came out in a high-pitched squeal. It's not what? Olivia's voice exploded like thunder. You're screwing the neighbor. Sarah finally reacted, getting to her feet on shaky legs. Wait. We can explain this. It's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like. Just what? I looked her straight in the eyes. Oh, don't tell me he was helping you unclog your drain. I said, laughing. I don't know how you plan to explain this when we've clearly seen you. Do you take us for fools? Mark had turned pale as a ghost. He was literally shaking. Olivia, baby, please let me explain. This was a mistake, a moment of weakness. Olivia looked at him with absolute contempt. Weakness? I'm pregnant, Mark, and you're here with this? She walked towards him, pulling out her phone. But don't worry, my lawyer will make sure you pay every cent of child support. I'm taking the house, the car, even your pension. Don't think you're getting out of this unscathed. She turned towards the door. Enjoy your new life of being broke. Wait. Mark tried to follow her. Get away from me. Olivia spun around. The next time you want to talk to me, it will be through my lawyer. She left the room. I heard her footsteps going down the stairs, then the slam of the front door. Mark ran out after her, still desperately looking for his clothes. And just like that, I was left alone with Sarah in the room we once shared. The silence was so thick, I could feel it crushing my chest. Sarah broke it first. Please, Liam, can we talk about this? I pulled the eviction papers from my pocket and placed them on the bed, right where she had been with Mark minutes before. Eviction notice. You have 48 hours. Her hands trembled as she took the papers. This can't be real. It's very real. It's signed by a judge. You can't do this. This is my house, too. No, this is my house. You are an occupant without a rental agreement. And, I looked her straight in the eye, a thief. A thief? Her voice broke. $30,000. Unauthorized transfers from our shared accounts. I have it all documented. She collapsed onto the bed. I was going to pay it back. When? After you ran off with him? I pointed to where Mark had been. Oh, but he doesn't want you anymore. He used you just like you used me. I took out my phone. Want to hear the recordings? I have everything documented. What recordings? Her eyes widened in horror. You didn't know? We have cameras in the house. The bank statements, everything. I put my phone away. The bank problems, the investigation, it was all a lie. I've known for weeks. But you kept acting normal. You talked to me. You ate with me. Her voice trailed off. I needed time to prepare everything legally, to make sure you couldn't keep a single thing that's mine. At that moment, we heard footsteps. Chloe appeared at the door, visibly bewildered. Mom, what's going on here? She saw her mother half naked on the bed. Your mother has been having an affair with the neighbor for 6 months, I told her bluntly. Chloe looked at me, then at Sarah. That's a lie. Sarah didn't know what to do or say. And you knew, I added. The mother-daughter outings, the hotels. Chloe lowered her head, unable to deny it. As they say, silence speaks volumes. So, you knew the whole time. It wasn't a question. I took the papers from the bed and gave them to her. You both have 48 hours. What? Chloe snapped her head up. You're kicking us out? It's an eviction order signed by a judge. I handed her the papers. By the way, tell your mother to watch the mail. The summons for the lawsuit over the $30,000 she stole will be arriving soon. $30,000? Chloe turned even paler. Yes, $30,000, I said, looking at Sarah. She was planning to run off with the neighbor. Money that you will now have to pay back, with interest and damages. It was our money, Sarah said, getting up from the bed, still trying to cover herself. It was my money, I cut her off. And you used it to build your plan B. Chloe connected the dots. Mom, instead of using it for my education, you were planning to leave me? Sarah's silence was all the answer she needed. It seems your mother chose her lover, and you helped her by covering for it all. But what am I going to do now? Chloe's voice broke. University? That's not my problem. Like you said, I'm not your father. I headed for the door. You have 48 hours. Not a minute more. Sarah came up to me. Wait. Liam, I was wrong. I made a mistake. Please, you can't do this to us. We can try again. No, this is over. I deserve more than a woman like you. I turned to leave. I love you, she shouted desperately. I can change. We can start over. I stopped in the doorway. You don't love anything but my money. The only difference is now it's gone. And us? What? Where are we going to go? That's not my problem anymore. I went downstairs without looking back. I heard Chloe crying. I heard Sarah screaming at me. I heard all the chaos I was leaving behind. But I just kept walking. I walked out of my own house for the last time as the man I had been. When I returned in 2 days, I would be the absolute owner of my life and my property. And they would have to discover who they were without my money, without my house, without me. It's been 2 months since I kicked them out. I stayed in a hotel for those 2 days while they packed. When I came back, the house was empty but intact. At least they had the decency not to destroy anything. Olivia followed through on every threat. Mark lost the house in the divorce, the car, and is paying child support that has him working 2 jobs. My ex-wife and Chloe had to move into an apartment on the other side of Atlanta. The civil lawsuit forced Sarah to return the $30,000. She had to empty that secret account down to the last cent, plus interest and legal fees. In total, she lost almost $40,000. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her relationship with Chloe became toxic. I sold the house 3 weeks ago. I didn't want anything that reminded me of that lie. I bought a larger apartment in Alpharetta, the kind of place I used to think I didn't need. Now that I'm not supporting 2 people who despised me, I can afford certain luxuries. Business is better than ever. I'm considering opening a 3rd location. Yesterday, I received a text from Chloe, from an unknown number. I'm sorry. I made a horrible mistake. Please, I need help with university. I promise I'll pay you back everything when I graduate. I read it twice. I remembered that dinner. I don't want to end up being a waiter my whole life. I deleted it without replying. Was I too ruthless, or did I simply respect myself for the first time?